Your source for everything paranormal. Para X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Calling. I'm Jerry Ayers with Sim, and with us from Cat Paranormal is the one, the only Kimberly Juarez. Hey, Kim.
Hello. Hey, Jerry.
What's
How's it
happening?
going?
Pretty
How's it
good.
going?
Yourself? How's it going?
Good.
How's it going? How are you doing?
Yeah. Doing all righty.
All
All right.
right.
No, just kidding.
That was the wrong radio.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I do have a bit of bad news, but I don't know if I had told you, but Reverend Michael Schrader, the exorcist,
Yeah.
was in the hospital. He had to have heart surgery, but
Really?
he's doing good. Yep, he's doing good. I was going to tell you that earlier, and I totally forgot. I'm sorry. But yeah, he's, you know him. You can't keep him down. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's he just asked for prayers from everybody to, you know, and stuff like that. So,
That tonight, I go to a church and I go to pray for an hour, so I will put him in my prayers, definitely.
awesome.
Definitely.
Very good. And that's about it. But other than that, thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you all next week. No, I'm just kidding.
What? You just
What?
begun.
It's just begun, baby.
Yeah.
All right. So, Paranormal Babble. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about, Kim? Just stuff, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about stuff.
Should we talk about paranormal stuff?
Definitely.
Or is that too scary for our listeners?
I think that's why they're here. They want to.
Oh,
You know.
okay. Well, I know Steve cries pretty fast. Snooky
Okay.
can't sleep, and she just shivers and shakes in a corner. Moofy piddles.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Oh,
Just
there's
kidding.
Rini. Hey, Rini.
Yep, Reenie's there. That was a great show we had with Reenie last week.
I know. I love that show, actually. It was such a good show.
You know,
Thank
it's
you.
funny, is I always had this fear of dolls. And, you know...
Why is that, though, Jerry? Why is that? I mean, that's
It's-
what I wanted to touch base on.
Well, I guess it started with clowns. Like,
Okay.
still today, this day, I flippin' hate clowns. You know, I
Okay.
told you the story when I was a little kid, and the only circus, Barnum and Bailey, that ever came to Bemidji, Minnesota, and I got pulled. I was late. I was looking at everything, and Mom and Dad got their seats, and my brother Jimmy was up there. And so my dad came down, or I'm sorry, as I seen where Mom was and I was heading over there, it was all starting. So clowns were grabbing kids and bringing them into the middle. Well,
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with that at first. I didn't want to go with them or
Okay.
nothing, but Dad had a big problem with it. So Dad came down, punched this clown in the face.
Oh, that's right.
When
Now I
he,
remember.
when he went down and I had tripped, he was like, oh God, maybe 4 or 5 inches from my face, still smiling, but blood shooting out of his nose and mouth.
Oh, my gosh.
You
That's
know,
scary.
so yeah, I mean, ever since then, I just don't like it. You know, I don't like clowns, can't stand them.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny is that my friend down in Tennessee, Lunette Von Loon, if you ever look her up on Instagram, she's a full-time clown.
Really?
Oh yeah, yep. She lives, breathes everything as a clown. and she's
Wow.
just such a real fun person, and she's really, really nice. And she, what can I say about her? Well, I guess the first time she ever decided thinking of doing that is when she went to the hospital, and this little boy who said he was dying of cancer and stuff, and she used to go and see him, and he said he liked clowns, so she would dress as a clown.
Okay.
And one day she went there and she couldn't find him, and she was dressed as a clown, and the nurse asked, what are you here for? Well, little so-and-so, whatever his name was and stuff like that. She never did give me his name. I come here to visit him and the rest of the kids. And she said, you must have the name wrong. And she said, no, he died 2 years ago. So who has she been talking to this whole entire time that got her to do that?
Right.
So, yeah. So anyway, she's a friend, so, and we don't talk that much and stuff like that, but we keep in touch with each other and stuff. She's going through some things right now with issues, health issues. And, it's fun to meet people online and talk with them and stuff like that and get their story, So anyway, so that was really interesting. No sending clowns. There ought to be clowns. What are you? You're demented.
Well,
Gosh,
back then too, if you stop to think, the clown makeup and everything was so heavy, and some of the clowns didn't look very nice. You know what I mean? So I can imagine as a kid, and then your dad hits this clown and there's blood gushing out of his nose. I mean, I can, you know what I mean? And back then, and then on top of it, back in time too, I want to say there was like I think there was a movie or something about haunted clowns and stuff and things, and they were just haunted and demented, like when you would talk about clowns. It's back in time, you know what I mean? So I mean, now people, I don't know if people still do, wear clown outfits, and still, I know that there was a couple here that lived here, and they did the exact same thing. They breathed clown. They did everything clown wise, and they were just, I don't know what happened to them, but yeah. But I do know that they were full blown clown 24/7. So
right.
Yeah.
And I know that when it comes to clowns and stuff, they did get a bad rap, especially with what happened in what do you call it? It was all over the place, where a clown would show up and start chasing cars and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
it was
that.
all over the place.
There was,
it was here in Minnesota too.
Yeah, there was people dressing as clowns and doing creepy stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, I can imagine. There's a clown in the middle of the hall, like on a highway. The clown would be standing just in the highway and just standing there, and they wouldn't even move, and people would just freak out, and
Well, there was some that were chasing cars, or they would wait and come after you. There was a couple clowns that actually got shot by people who had permits to carry.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know. But anyway, this is a picture of my friend, Lunette von Loon. I thought I'd put it up there. But talking about the dolls and stuff like that, the dolls just naturally creep me out. Renee, after talking to her about the dolls and stuff like that, I'm a little less creeped out about them, but I still will never sleep in a room where there's a doll sitting there staring at me. And just the other day, which is kind of cool, is that I did get what is this that we just got here sent to us? We just got a case. I can't tell you where the case is at. Actually, yuck, Sarge, that's gross.
I know. I was going to say it was great. That's a creepy
nasty.
clown.
That is a
an
very
ugly
creepy clown. He's just, gosh. Anyway, so anyway, it's a doll place, and they want us to come and investigate it. So I can't tell you exactly all about it. But anyway, so but Renee, since she was on the show and everything, we actually have had a lot of people asking, how much does she pay for haunted dolls and stuff? And it's like she doesn't. By the way, that picture is what Sarge sent me.
That was
Sarge
creepy.
is very demented. So,
Right.
but anyway, she also too. There's some that say that they have some haunted ones and
Okay.
how to get a hold of her. And I'm working out with that right now for her because I just don't want to give her information out. And,
Right.
She had some stuff going on today, and yesterday. So,
And that's kind of a good thing because, like I said, like John Zaffis and a lot of these collectors that do collect haunted things, they're so overwhelmed. Like John just put up, he had these I think it's 3 dolls that he barely got to, and he's had them for a while actually. And they were kind of creepy. It's like there's a tiny miniature one, and then there's 2 of them in a carriage, and to me, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're going to be a handful if they're that haunted, like if they've done things together. That's how I felt when I saw the dolls, so yeah, so that's kind of neat that Rini does that, in that sense. So yeah,
right.
that's good.
Well, I know that I seen that Steve B and Steph both said, let's talk about dimensions. Well, I don't know a lot about them. Do you know a lot about dimensions?
Well, I know that there's quite a few dimensions out there. I don't know like a full blown, so I would like to study it a little bit more before I even
attempt to take it on. But
right.
One of the things for the Paranormal Babble, of course, we talk about anything that's paranormal. So just kind of the other day, I had passed some guys that were sitting out, and they were actually police officer police officer. There was a EMT worker and a couple of firemen,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all talking about just talking about stuff. So anyway, I walked up to him and I said, "Hey guys, I'm Jerry from the Calling Radio Show, and I would like to ask you guys a question. You're all together and stuff, And they said, "What?" And I said, "How much do you believe in the paranormal?"
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Are we on camera?" And I went, "No." I said, "I'm just, I don't even need to know your names. I just want to know, do you believe in the paranormal? Have you had anything happen?" Mm-hmm. And the jailer, there was one guy that was a jailer, or he was a cop, but when he was a jailer,
right.
He said, yeah. He said, I actually, one time when I was at the jail, and there was 3 cells that we had people in, and a guy kept begging me to please just take a look, that he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there at all. I should be out of here. I didn't do nothing. Can you just look into it, please? So he thought, well, I'll ask some questions. So he gets back up, and he hadn't been on, to be a cop for that long or anything, or sheriff is what he was, deputy sheriff. But he started asking some questions, and the guys were telling him, they said, "Who are you talking about?" And he said, "The guy in number whatever." And they said, "There's nobody in there." He said, "Yes, I was just talking to him,
Yeah.
They said, "No, there's not." And they went down there, and there was nobody in that cell.
Wow.
But the place that someone did die in there a long time ago. But, in all jail cells, someone's going to die in there at any time,
Right.
and stuff. But
Right.
it was kind of a scary thing for him. That was his first paranormal thing. And I know that on our team we had Corey, who was a fireman, and Corey was talking about a time when he went to a place of a car accident, and the car was on fire. They put the fire out, and they couldn't find the driver. Everybody was drunk, and there was supposed to be a driver that was sober. And they looked all around. They couldn't find him. I'm sure Stephanie remembers this. And when he finally took a look they started looking around and stuff, and they really thought this is really strange that guy's not there and stuff.
Right.
And all of a sudden the radio popped on, and it was Journey, Don't Stop Believing. And
Wow.
I remember him telling us about that, and he was just, you could tell he was just lost in that moment that even happened. And they decided to look underneath the car, and there he was. He was burned a little bit because, the engine was on him and stuff like that, but he was still alive. So they were able to save him. And
That's what I don't understand, though. How was he underneath if he was the driver?
nobody knows. And he was the
That's so
only
bizarre.
sober one of all of them. And they don't believe that he was a passenger, because nobody sober is going to allow drunk people to drive.
Right. Exactly.
That's unless they're stupid,
Right. Exactly.
That is just.
I wonder if he was trying to turn out the fire. That's what I'm wondering. And he was, going underneath to see if he could turn it off, and it probably ignited while
No,
was
he
down.
was wedged.
Really?
He was wedged underneath there. They had to end up, like taking the truck and running into it to lift it up enough to get that out. You get him out from underneath there. It was terrible.
Wow.
So, boy, I don't even know. Should we even do the show? We got people asking about recipes
Dimensions.
and stuff. Yeah, well,
Sweet potato
know.
pie. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
getting hungry here. Well, to tell you about a story, I just want to tell you what a coincidence. My friend passed away last week in a very bad car accident. And God rest her soul and everything. But the thing is, I wanted to touch base. It's funny because I was getting ready for the funeral that morning. It was a Friday morning, and I was getting ready, and I kept hearing, like, what to honor you, what song? Because this, it reminds me of the same kind of thing. And I kept thinking, what song could I honor her? I'm getting dressed, and everything, kind of crying a little bit. And so in my head, I kept hearing Death Leopard. Death Leopard. That's all I kept hearing. Hysteria, Death Leopard. And I'm like, okay, why Death Leopard of all songs? And I know she liked this music because she loved rock and roll. She was just a free heart going. She loved it and everything. Well, anyways, so I kept saying, well, no, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play it. But the whole time, even when I walk out of the room, it kept telling me, play Death Leopard, damn it. It was kind of bizarre. Anyways, we get to the funeral and everything later on that day, and we get to the funeral, and then her son gives the eulogy, and he goes, if anybody knew my mom any better, they would have known that she would have been right now telling us to play what? Death Leopard. And I just think that's what that is. I wanted to get up there and say, oh my God, I should have played the song, because it was just so bizarre, and it just goes to show you that things like that, just even music can be, it's such a coincidence, the whole paranormal, the whole, just touching base and stuff like that. So anyways, I just had to throw that in there. I just think it's pretty cool.
no, that's really cool. That's I mean, there's so much around us, and there's so many times that people don't even think about, what things could happen.
Right.
Or,
Well, just like them. Like, I mean, I can imagine, like, emergency. I know a story. Like, there's this lady that I have. She's very close friends, and she does all the caregiving for the elderly, and they're in a hospital as well, and they're like the hospice. Some of them live there because they're very sick, some of these elderly and stuff like that. Well, she's seen some really crazy things when they pass on. She feels it, she senses it. She says when she looks that she sees things, like shadowing, and like if shadow people, she says, and they're all standing there, and like somebody's passing away, and everybody's crying, and she's looking inside the room, because she knows it's heartbreaking for these families. So she's going to comfort them, and as she's walking in, she could see these shadows like leaving, like literally leaving, and it's like to her, she's like, whoa, like she could probably, we need to have her on the show maybe. She could probably tell us some stories, you know what I mean? And
Right.
how like there's times where she says that she sees patients and they're in the room and she's talking to them and everything, and she's walking in the room and everything, and then they find out later they're asking her, well, who are you talking to? And she goes, well, Mr. So and so. Oh no, honey, he died late last night, you know, and his body's gone, you know. And she's like, wait, what? You know, there's no way. I just talked to him. He's standing up. He's doing great. You know, she's just, it's unbelievable, she says. You know, he's sitting in the chair, you know, and she's thinking, oh, there must be getting ready for the day, you know, or something. I think something was with the bed or something like that. So she's thinking they have him up and in a chair. And basically he passed away the night before.
Wow.
So that to me is so weird, you know, and so yeah.
Right. Steve B says, does she ever see angels when people are passing? If I may for a second before you take this one, is in that group of guys, one that said that he worked in the hospital and stuff, or I'm sorry, EMT worker, when he was bringing people in, he said a lot of people notice. A lot of people don't notice it, but some people will notice that there's always one or two people that are standing there that are watching you, and they are not any of the doctors or anything like that. They're not even human right now. I mean, they're somebody that has passed away. Could they be an angel? Could they be something? Because he said that he has actually seen a couple of times the same guy in two different hospitals. He's wearing a hospital, a surgeon's smock, whatever you want to call it. And he's got kind of a squarish face, short hair, and he just stares at them. He never really looks at the patient, but stares at them as they're bringing them in, you know, and stuff. And he thought it was the strangest thing, but he's seen it so far in two hospitals. And after he said talking about it with other people that do this kind of stuff, that's what they see. Yeah.
Well, I know she says that one time she saw this glowing light, like she says she can't see, like an oval shape, as tall as a person, and she said that it looked like a gold white bright color, that she would see, and then it would just shoot up like nothing. It would just shoot up in the air and goes right through the ceilings. She says she's seen that, and she said she's seen it more than one time, but she does see also black shadowing, like a black shadow mass of some sort. It doesn't really, I can't remember if she said it was shaped, but the golden one, she says it's shaped like an oval. It's the size of a person, but it's oval. It's not, to her, it seems like an angel. It would be an angel of some sort, you know, to her. I mean, we should find people that work in emergencies, and just, even if we have to just do them as Joe, you know, like different names or something, but just to find out some of these stories, because there is another lady who I know that works in the emergency one, and she said she's seen some really horrible figures, and sometimes she even says that she gets affected by it. You know, she gets depressed, she gets, you know, because I guess not only because it's death, and because, you know, she sees these families, you know, because people are dying, you know, in an emergency, and it really hits home sometimes, she says, but she gets so emotional, and sometimes she even sees shadows.
Did you just see that behind you?
Yeah.
That was weird.
That was weird. What was that?
I don't know.
Something just came down, like something just flew.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
Did you guys hear it? It was loud.
Something, but
that was weird.
Where's your doll? It's not there. Yeah, it is.
No, she is. She's right there, but she looks like she's leaning now. Looks like her foot's...
Okay, this is really bizarre. Let me go big with the screen here so I can see it.
Let's see. That to me was bizarre. We have the camera, the motion camera, Jerry, so I'll be able to see it later.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, as I'm talking, something flies in the from the shelf. It sounds like it flies and it comes down. I mean, it could be, I don't know. Anyways, but I just think that's weird. Anyways, so yeah, so we really, she says she's seen like, she thinks things follow her home. She gets affected by it, but I also think she also has abilities, and that's why she gets affected so easily, and why they come home to her. You know what I mean? Come with her. And she doesn't probably clear herself enough. You know what I mean? To, because you're in an emergency, and you're not realizing. I can imagine if I worked there, I'd probably get like totally empathic. You know what I mean? Just by working in such a place.
Well, because of COVID and stuff like that, I suppose they wouldn't allow us just to go sit in an emergency room on a Friday or a Saturday night. And,
I know, right?
That's really sick. I know that's really sick, but that would be really interesting, though, too, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Hospitals have so much paranormal. It's not even funny. I mean, I've been in and out of the hospital since I was a little girl, and I remember seeing things that didn't make any sense at all. And I even remember these white figures one time, and I'm pretty sure I have, because of my abilities. And I remember seeing these white, pure, like, they were people, like, just pure white, like, pure whiteness. They had a little bit of eyes, they had a little bit of, and they would walk around the hospital at night. And I'd be, like, thinking, I'd double look because, who are these people? Like, why would you be walking at night, and stuff like that? And they were super, like, translucent, like, I want to say white. And it was just so weird. And they were in hospital gowns walking around. So to me, I think it's crazy.
That's weird.
Have a lot of paranormal.
We're going to continue this, plus also, too, some people have said some stuff in the chat room, and we'll get back to them in just a couple minutes. We're going to go on break. Just hang tight.
Steph. Hey. It's a Taffy Tuesday today, Heidi. Taffy Tuesday? I don't know, Steph. That's kind of a stretch. Well, we want to give everyone something to chew on.
Tune in to the Gathering Radio Show, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X Radio.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What Are You Afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
Hey, this is Lee from the Dead Zone. I want to give a huge shout out to Shauna and congratulations on her new podcast, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. You'll hear some amazing guests like me, paranormal and true crime stories, and more. Catch her Wednesdays at 8 Central on the Para X Radio Network.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal, Para X.
And we're back. This is Jerry with the calling, along with Kimberly Juarez. And hey, what say you just decided to grace us with your presence in the chat room, and you didn't hear the first part of the calling. You can tomorrow. I will have it posted by 4 o'clock at www, The Call-In Radio Show, and on YouTube, The Call-In Radio Show. And remember, I'm going to say it again. I say it every week. Para X is the place to be at, yo. wintertime coming up. What else is there to do? You got to go outside, slide, snowmobile. What? No, you're going to listen to Para X, you dork. No, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, they got all sorts of shows. They got Para X has Geeks Paranormal right after us. Tuesdays, you got The Gathering, Stephanie and Heidi. And this time, they promised they weren't going to drink, so just kidding. There's all sorts of shows on, and it's, every day there's always something really good. So, all right, just check those out and have some fun. ParaXRadioNetwork.com. Okay, so something people are asking, had asked, Cater. He's a person. Let's see. What was behind her? Cater, don't know. I've seen something, but she was on, when you're on Skype and you're doing the show, if you're looking at the chat room, so she's on a tiny screen, about the size of a business card. I seen something, and then I finally got over to the bigger screen to take a look, and it's hard to say what it could have been.
But I do have cameras pointing in that direction, so I'll go through the camera.
Okay.
So, and see what it was, because I thought it was pretty bizarre. And this room has some haunted things, like there's a cloak that's in here that used to be with the Oddfellows. And I mean, if you guys looked at this cloak, it is not a nice cloak.
No, who's the Oddfellows?
The Oddfellows was a church. It was like a thing for, I don't know how it was, like a men's. It was here in Waseca County, and it was a men's kind of group, and they called it the Odd Fellow Brotherhood or something like that. And they used to wear these cloaks, and the one who punished was the one that used to wear the cloak that covers his eyes, because you were not allowed to know who was the one that would give the orders of punishment of some sort. And I don't know what that means, because
so
I thought,
was this a racist group or a satanic group?
I have no clue. A lot of people, I once got this psychic told me that it was some kind of a racist / satanic / I mean, that's what she felt from it and stuff like that. And actually, the church that they used to do their meetings in is actually one of the buildings next door to us. So I got to do some investigating upstairs and in the basement. My daughter got a lot. We've gotten so much stuff in that area. So one day, one of the people who live here that own one of the shops, the antique shops, she found it and said, "Kim, you're never going to guess what I found." And sure enough, she brought it to me, because apparently back in time, they had this, again, but Oddfellow, whatever thing, and apparently they had like certain people that would run it, and the only thing is you were not allowed to see the person who did punishment or did the orders or something like that in discipline orders of some sort. You could not see their face. But the outfit that I have is huge. It sits like a 6 foot tall, big, heavy set man would be in this outfit. And it just gives you the creeps. And it literally does have a cover over its face, and it's black. So,
well, everything so far that I just looked at about the Oddfellows, it talks about them, especially in Waseca, IOOF, International Oddfellows Hall, Waseca County. There's one also in Hopkins. Strangers Refuge Lodge number 74, Independent Order of Oddfellows, was an important social and fraternal organization in New Richland. When the hall was constructed in 1902, the building was a convenient and flexible venue for other fraternal, social, religious groups, plus large gatherings for musical and theatrical performances, dance parties, motion picture shows, or movies, we call them now, school functions from 1902 to 1918. The entire ground floor was used and referred to as a New Richmond Opera House in 1918. variety of stores moved into the front part of the first floor in 1924. So it just talks about, it doesn't talk about exactly
Right.
what they are and stuff. So, you know what that kind of reminds me of?
Huh.
You're not going to like this, but it kind of reminds me of the residential schools. Oh, they were so good for those poor little Native American children, yet that they killed them all off.
Right.
You know, so
well,
there
goes
story. My griping for the day.
There is a story. Apparently, the person who ran the church, which is the church, the building now, it's an apartment building, he apparently was the mediator for the Native Americans, or I should say migrant workers, but also there was Native, and apparently he was the mediator for the city of Waseca, and he's a priest, you know, so he's their mediator. He's supposed to help them and whatnot, and help with the what do you say, like the speaking part of it and everything. Well, apparently these people used to work for the city, and then he would come in and give them, like they would give him, okay, here, this is for their hard work. Here's $30. They split between these three men, you know, and then we'll give you some like pounds of meat, and they would give them like bacon and pounds of roast or whatnot, and some corn and vegetables. Well, he was taking their food. He took their food plus their money and only split so much with them. You know, so he wasn't, you know, he was supposed to be like Reverend Randall, you know, the Reverend from Little House on the Prairie. He's supposed to be this God. You know, people thought that that's the way he was. In reality, he wasn't. So they later found out that he was, you know, and they did put him to justice apparently in Mankato. You know, they did do, you know, I think he went to jail and everything for all the stuff that he's done at one point. So there is an article apparently about it that he was going to court and everything. But yes, and also I have to say this too. There is a place, a museum, I think it's in, I want to say Morristown, and they literally have a lot of stuff kind of about the KKK. And, you know, yeah. And apparently there is some things that, there is also an article written before sundown. People who were like Native Americans, they weren't allowed to be outside at a certain time of night, or else you would go to jail or something would happen to you. So just like you know. Right. So yeah, we are kind of a number one area for all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but there is like haunted people in here.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. No, back in the day, you know, like Cater just put up the Wikipedia of Order of the Odd Fellows and stuff. It kind of pays them out like they're such good people and stuff. But the thing is, they may not have been. You know, history. Oh, I don't want to get myself in trouble. I know I will. But history seems to lack the exact thing that really happened to people, you know, especially of color or of or against women or something like that, you know. So I'll just leave that be, and let's go on with something else.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is that history does repeat, and that's how they, you know, I think that's why ghosts come back. Eventually, it's going to come out. You know, look at all the stuff that's coming out now. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's going to catch up. Look at all the hauntings and it's going to come out no matter what, you know? So, yeah, I think history is a big deal of the paranormal, I'll tell you right now, for sure.
Right. You know, Cater, when he said, you know, what's behind her, Stephanie said, had to open a new window. I wonder if you opened your window, maybe there's something flying around inside there that can't get out, because you burn a lot of sage, right?
Well, yeah, but see, there's no open windows right now. There's nothing that's open.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Is like, if there was an open window, would they be able to fly out then? Or would they have flown out? You're even looking around now like,
Yeah, well, no, you know what's so funny? Because Art, not too long ago, I want to say, I think I told you this, Jerry. One time, Art literally saw a man going up our stairway right here, and he's working because he works in this little desk area. And a man, he says it looked plaited, a shirt plaited, and he literally seen the man in his peripheral vision going up the stairway and turned around and looked like, what the heck is that? And I always think, to me, I feel like it's the man that was in that cloak. That's why I think.
You really should do a thing on the cloak.
Yeah,
an
I do.
investigation on it. You should.
I do want to do something on the cloak. And not only that, I feel like, too, because we're right in the middle of the downtown, and there's just so much energy and history. And, I mean, I can go for days and probably investigate this whole place and catch something.
Another thing, too, what if you brought the cloak or a picture of the cloak to the Fraternal of the Odd Fellows type thing, whatever, and asked them about it, what it was? I wonder what they would tell you.
I wonder if there's I know there's not one running in Waseca anymore, and I wonder if there's a historian that could tell you a little bit more about it.
You should get a hold of Jeff Jarvis. He's really good at that, and he's written a few books on stuff, and I think this would be a really good thing for him, and I could see him, other than he does great photos, Jeff Jarvis does. I mean, as in paintings
and paintings, yes.
Yeah, you definitely should. I would definitely turn him on to it and see what he says. You're friends with Jeff?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely reach out to him. Let's see, what else? Open a window, see the video. And that's another thing, too. If you do have video of that, Kim, let's, have it ready to go by next week so that, because there's so much stuff has happened in your house. I can count up many times where we see something and everything. And it's just too bad that, that place in Wisconsin that we went to, we didn't have some video of that, Let's see. Steve B., I can tell you 2 stories about people dying in hospitals and nursing homes that I experienced. There, that's a big thing, is nursing and hospitals and stuff. There is so many things going on that people see, and so many people don't believe them. That's like if you were to say a person that is just works in an office. They work in an office all the time. They may not believe any of this stuff happens, that it's part of life. They may not believe exactly what life is really like unless they became a bartender or something. Right. Because as a bartender, you see the real life, the real stuff that happens.
Exactly.
Where some people would say, oh, people aren't like that. I've seen it, and I'm sure you've seen things that you're still can't get wrapped around in your head, that why would people do that for? And so, that it's interesting.
I think like the convalescent home, like I get phone calls to this day, Jerry. There's a man that's working at a convalescent, but he was like, but this place is so brand new, And I said, he goes, there's no way there could be hauntings. Nobody's died here yet. And then I said, well, have you checked and he had a legit EVP. He sent me the EVP. You can hear talking, and he's sitting in a chair. And it's him and another nurse, and they can literally feel like she feels awkward. So she says that she finally told the guy, because stuff started happening in the kitchen, like things were falling down and stuff was happening. So she finally told the guy, and he goes, you know what, I'm going to get a hold of this girl that is into the paranormal here. And he did. He literally got a hold of me, and he asked me to listen to the EVP. I listened to the EVP. You hear something crashing, someone walking, and she's by herself, and she's in a chair. And I think he's in a chair as he's trying to catch another EVP, and he does afterwards. So and I asked him, I said, did you check the history of the property? Have you checked that? He goes, no, I haven't. So then he went back that day, checked the property. Then he found out it used to be an old hospital there. So, that was built, the new place is built over and it's a convalescent. So that right there only tells you, that they had, something going on in the hospital. Of course, people die in a hospital, people don't make it in the hospital. So of course they're going to hear footsteps and all that stuff. So yeah, there it is. So then
speaking of, okay, so, when you're talking about EVPs and stuff like that, there was, I remember when we were speaking at Paracon, I think it was 2015, 2016, I can't remember which one it was. I'm sure Steph does. And one of the things that I brought up was, I brought up about how it all began, okay? Mm-hmm. And I actually was able to get my hands on a copy of the very first EVP that anybody had done. And it was done on one of those type recorders, that was the record machine, and they had to talk into it and stuff. Yep. Yeah, and it was of this guy was interviewing this chief. Okay. And as the chief was playing the drum, you could hear, and this is in a soundproof room, you could hear people in the background singing with him. There was like 2 or 3 different voices. Yeah. And that EVP is the very first EVP and the only believable one, they say, that is 100% real. And where is it at? It's in the University of Minnesota. They have that. And they do a lot of testing on that. I just tried to find it right now, and I can't find it whatsoever. And Steph was saying that she would love to get into Anoka County Hospital, and
I know
everybody wants to get in there, but they're not going to allow it to happen.
I think that's really sad because first of all, the building just sits there. I don't think anybody's in that building. That's just like the this building over here in Owatonna. It's a old college, the Pillsbury College. It used to be this huge place, and it's very haunted, and they don't allow anybody in there whatsoever. I've tried so many times, and they do have some of it is built, but like the Anoka just sits there, and it just, to me, it deteriorates every year, and I feel like sometimes, even I get it, they don't want to step our boundaries, and I kind of understand that, but at the same time, it's, again, a part of the history, part of the things that we should be learning more about paranormal and stuff like that. Some people, I can understand why they wouldn't let some people in, but I feel like I'd be respectful, and I know Jerry would, but the thing is that they should allow us, that way we can learn a little bit more and learn, especially maybe groups where we can stick together. I don't know. Sometimes it's a hit and miss on groups. That's another thing.
Oh, it really is. Because, as much as we want to believe in some groups that we know and maybe have done stuff with and stuff like that, there's a level of total professionalism that may go out the door, and we look past that at times. And then there's other times, why didn't we catch that when everybody else did? So it's not, sometimes you can't even believe your friends, know? Right. And that's another thing when it comes to, I'm going to get in trouble for this one, when it comes to Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, all that stuff, still a lot of it is still just, possibilities. Right. There's no complete ghosts. Is there complete proof? Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen my stuff. I've seen your stuff, and different teams and stuff. There's one guy, I'm not even going to mention his name. He's a great guy. But he watches those shows all the time. And in this one show, it has nothing to do with ZB, but there was a show that was from England, and they were supposed to show the first time of a real apparition, a real ghost caught on film. Everybody was pumped for that episode.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him with this guy, and all of a sudden, here it comes. And he's like, holy, just swearing like crazy. Oh, my God, they really did it. And what did I say? No, it's not real. And he goes, what are you, insane? I said, wait till it comes back commercial and they show it again. I said, that is fake. Take a look at it. Open your mind up. Quit thinking that everything is possible. Some stuff is not. Right. And so as we watched it again, you can definitely tell that it was a film trick. Mm-hmm. And that's what he knew it, I knew it, but still, millions of people really believed in that until a month later when it came out that was totally fraudulent.
Right.
And then everybody was really bummed on that. But the thing is that, believe it, if it's on on a TV show and these people are supposed to be big scientists and stuff, it still might not be the truth.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's it just drives me crazy.
I met this guy, not too long ago. They had Day of the Dead out here. Really nice Day of the Dead display and everything, Los Días de Muertos. And they had it out in Mankato. Really good show. If anybody does it for next year, you've got to go out there. They did some really great stuff. And there was vendors and everything. Well, then I see the ectoplasma car from Ghostbusters, And then I see... and this lady told me it was a paranormal group who owned the car. And I said, oh, really? And she goes, yeah. She goes, oh, the person is he's international, apparently. Okay. And I'm not going to say anything because I don't want, And I said, oh, I didn't even know that. I'm going to go check him out. So sure enough, he comes out and I said, oh, do you own this vehicle? And he said, yeah. And then I asked him, I said, well, so what places do you do paranormal? He goes, oh, haunted places like Waverly and haunted hospitals and haunted blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he goes, but we help people, these haunted hospitals will talk about different hauntings and stuff, and then we'll throw a book out there for them so they can get the proceeds from the book. And I stopped to look at and I stopped to think about it, because he goes, we're not like ghost hunters that go in basements and wait for something to happen. And I felt like saying, you're the kind that like to go into places that are already haunted, You know what I mean? And he just looked at me like, didn't say anything.
I call them ghost vacationers.
Yeah. And he didn't say, and I said, well, I kind of like helping people. I do a lot of personal things because I don't go into too many haunted places. Like, I think the last place I gone to was the Virginia State Penitentiary.
On a ghost vacation.
Yeah, on a ghost vacation.
Right.
Of course it was. But I've never really go anywhere around. But to me, I felt like saying, you get proceeds from that book if you wrote the book. You know what I mean? So You're basically making money from these people no matter what. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't like the way he said that. Like, oh, I don't go into basements just for waiting for something to happen. It's a waste of my time. I'm like, what? It is not a waste of your time. You're helping people. Anyway,
right.
So
yeah. Well, it's crazy. I mean, there's, like you're like my team. I mean, if we went to Waverly and it was very interesting, but I don't think I even have that listed on my website that we've even been there. We may have. I mean, we did catch some stuff there that was interesting, but our biggest focus is on people that need help.
Right.
Because there's some houses that, some of the darndest things come out of stuff. Holy place, like a church be haunted? Yes, it can be.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I work at a church. I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm sure. Steph says, I'd go back to Waverly in a heartbeat. I'd like to go back there again. It would be interesting, on a paranormal vacation, and it would be fun to have my whole team come with.
Right.
know,
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like these big places, I get it. You know, you want to go to something that's good and legit and everything, and you go with your team and have a good time. And I could see that. I completely understand that. But basically, as an investigator, we're trying to help people. We're trying to learn about the history and about the place. And like that man who called me and said, you know, Kim, can you listen to this? You know, I just think it's crazy. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, wow, that was a fast hour.
It was a fast hour.
It was. Well, now you check that out for that, you know,
Yeah,
your
I am.
film and stuff. And then I'm going to find that first EVP, and we'll send it to Sarge and have him play it on next week's show. I think that'd be kind of interesting. Let's go back in time, Kim. Let's go back in time for next week on what kind of things that you know, we found back in the past, and you know how being a paranormal investigator or ghost hunter actually started. What kind of equipment and stuff like that. Let's go back to the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So our time's up. I want to thank everybody for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you all next week. And thank you, Kim. Thank you, Para X Sarge. You are wunderbar. You are the best, my friend. All right. You all have a good one. Bye.
Good night, everyone.